Hello, everyone. This is Neagat. Welcome to another podcast for Littlewargame. Last time we were together in this podcast format, I had a discussion with Square Root of -1, one of the developers for Little Wargame, to specifically talk about um, the game, kind of the direction, things about design. Today, I have someone who is um, involved specifically with um, coding, specifically with bots. I'm joined by Mr. Meow, and we're going to have a discussion about bots and Little War Game, and talk a little bit about that. So, Mr. Meow, would you be okay with introducing yourself?
Yeah, for sure. Hello everybody. My name on Discord at least is Mr. MeowMeow. I program bots. Most notably I believe it's called the Hurricane AI, which I believe you can get on GitHub. I also try and help other two developers, Death and Brutality Warlord. Yeah, check out their bots, which are actually pretty cool too. Um, yeah, and then I program them, find them fun, interesting, and yeah, that's about it.
Very nice, very nice. So I guess I want to take this in the perspective of most people that are going to be in the little war game community. Most people are just going to be like players that are interested in getting to learn about the game. So if that's kind of like the perspective we want to take this discussion at, we can assume that not many people know a lot about what developing bots even means, or if that's even something that can be done in Little War Game. So, would you be okay with kind of giving a little bit of a breakdown of what bots are in Little War Game and kind of how that all looks like?
Yeah, for sure. So bots in Little Wargame, most people don't really know about this, but there you can upload a custom script in JavaScript, and then the computer will run that rather than the normal play versus computer setting. You can upload your own. Um, So essentially, it's a complicated process to upload it, which is why many people don't actually know about this, but you can, and I believe it's called like custom AI. You can upload that. Yeah. Uh, I mean, there's as for programming it, it's so there. It's like writing the book, really. You write it one word at a time, and then it just balloons into massive things like novels or giant scripts, whatever it may be. And it's really writing bots isn't so different from any other type of writing. Um, but there's just but it seems very foreign to people generally. Some people generally people think like I'm a magician. I
Mhm.
make computers somehow think,
Yeah.
right? But I really don't.
Right. Right. Something I remember when we were talking a little bit even before we had this discussion was I was calling it AI, artificial
Yeah,
intelligence, and I'm definitely one of those people that have very little understanding of bots and how it works. But it sounds like just to kind of summarize um, that, breaking down a whole topic that's bots in like a couple of sentences. It sounds like it's just mostly writing a script that
yeah,
you can play against. And
yeah,
so I remember in our discussion, you said something about adaptation. So
yes,
basically, how I understand it is what you write down or put down in the script is exactly what the bot is going to do, and it
yeah,
won't be able to do anything different. Basically, basically it's kind of like a script, and the bot only follows the script, right?
That's correct.
Very nice, very nice.
Okay, yeah. So AIs, which you probably hear in the, think of the Terminator essentially. Right? So the Terminator can think, it can adapt. So like if something is not in its code, in
Hmm.
the Terminator's code, it will still be able to, it will still be able to find a solution to it. With my bot, it cannot. It will not do that. I mean, I do have a couple of like contingencies in there. For example, if it sees like dragons,
Hmm.
it will make ballista
Hmm.
and archers a greater priority. However, it is not true adaptation because it's all pre-programmed. For example, if a Littlewargame introduced a new type of unit called, I don't know, the helicopter, right? So it wouldn't have any programming to deal with that. It wouldn't be able to do anything against it because that's not programmed in.
Gotcha.
So there is a difference between AI and bots, which is why I always like to call mine bots, not AIs, because
Hmm.
they're really not AIs at all.
Hmm. Very nice. Yeah, very nice, very nice. So, again, from the perspective of a new person, um, that if someone boots up a game of Little War Game and they press
Mm.
single player, um,
Yeah.
that computer would be a bot, correct? It's like a programmed
Yes.
script that is like supposed to build a castle and then some
Yeah.
houses and things like that, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, very nice. And then you mentioned some names. So I believe you specifically mentioned Death, someone I can remember. These are people that are in the community that are like making bots. Um, I remember you were talking about that.
Mm.
Um, within the community, how much do you think you're interacting with people that are making bots? Are you having like competitions to see like if your bot is better than that bot, or how do you even measure like um, the strength of your bots, or how well they're progressing?
It's funny you mentioned that. We actually had a three-way fight,
Hmm.
me, Death, and Brutality Warlord with our AIs. Um, I forgot who won, but yeah, we did have that. And if with your mention, you mentioned like how much I interact with these people, these programmers, but it's really not a lot at all.
Hmm.
I don't think I've really talked to them in the past month or two. Um, I don't know. Brutality Warlord seems to have given up. Death, I don't know what he's doing. He said he's going to leave the community, I believe.
Oh.
Like that is kind of sad.
Hmm.
Especially with Alberto leaving too.
Mm.
Uh, it's just, I mean, I don't really get, okay, so I don't really get a lot of like support from other players, and that's fine by me. I mean, I would like support, but I don't need it.
Hmm.
I do okay, so I do sometimes test my bot against like Brutality Warlord's bot
Hmm.
or the standard bot really too. Um, it's usually though I do test my bot. Okay, I usually have my bots test against each other,
Hmm.
so I can see where they're being dumb and where they're being smart.
Hmm.
Uh, and it's also easier to just to see in spectator mode
Yeah.
when there's two bots that are the same. However, sometimes I will use for a like Brutality Warlord's bot just to see because when it's like fighting a clone of yourself essentially because you're both going to have the same style, both going to have the same attack tendencies and all that, right? But if you fight against like a different opponent, then you can kind of see like where different weaknesses are. Let's put it that way. So, but mostly I will just test them by themselves because it's simpler.
Hmm.
That kind of went off on a tangent. Back to
No,
your original question.
yeah,
So
no,
yeah, there's yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. It's probably way easier than uploading on the I believe you called it custom AI was the
yeah,
menu to upload. Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Very okay. That makes a lot of sense. Are you able to like personally assess your bot? Like I know for me, if I ever look at like a replay of my own games or of someone else's games, and I'm trying to like assess how that player is doing. I have like specific timings I can go for, like around 2 minutes and like 10 seconds, a raider is going to be on your side of the map. You need to have something to deal with that, or
Mhm.
maybe like around like I think 4 minutes is like when there's supposed to be a cata drop that could be in your main base or around. Um, so you talked a little bit about how you assess your AIs, whether they be against each other. But like, do you feel like you have a good grasp of the game to be able to kind of see like, oh, like my AI would probably be weak against like a two den or something like that?
Yeah. Um, Mostly I learn by losing.
Okay.
So I will log in as a guest and then play other people.
Hmm.
Uh, and then when I play them, then I speak more because I'm not a really good player. I will lose, and I have lost a lot.
Hmm.
Um, but while I'm losing, I can figure out like strategies for my bot to use, like you said, cata drop, right? That kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
um, it's so my bot is not smart. It's dumb. It's really, really, really dumb.
Yeah.
But it can. Okay, so I always try to make it a bit better,
Mhm.
just like in one area or two areas or something. For example, at one time, I think my bot, yeah, so it has magic, so it will train mages, and then it'll do like mage fireball attacks.
Mhm.
So it was targeting the center of units, and then oftentimes the center of units there'd be nothing there because all the catapults or whatever were spread out. Right? So I noticed this, and then I adjusted it so that it picks the closest catapult to shoot a fireball at.
Mhm.
Right. Um. So that's okay. This is off on a tangent again, but this is one of the examples of where bots are better than players because the bot doesn't care how many it can't click, so it doesn't care how fast its finger can move. So it can target like 10 different things at once.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's so dumb it doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
That's actually such an interesting concept, how bots play. Right now, even as we're having a discussion, I'm like thinking, man, because I play against the computer a
Yeah.
lot. I think probably more than half of my games have been against the computer, purely
Mhm.
so that I can improve my APM and like
Yeah.
my play, so that
Yeah.
whenever I have to make decisions in game, I'm not also like the fog of having to do micro is not taking over my brain's like faculties to also make decisions like, do I build a workshop right now, or
Mhm.
can I like get a fourth base or something like that?
Yeah.
So that being said, I don't think I've ever seen a bot fire a fireball at me ever before, and I think um, I think if it was possible to access some of these bots, that would probably make for way better practice for players that are trying to get into the game,
Yeah.
so that they could have things to play against that are not just like two racks all-ins from the standard bot that we get in the
Mhm.
computer. Um,
Yeah.
so again, you mentioned the custom AI loading that up. Um,
Yeah.
could you talk a little bit about how people could access some of these bots so that they can actually like test and like actually get to experience the thing that you've been building?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if you could include a link in the description,
Sure,
but I do have a
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. I have a GitHub. I have a
Hmm.
GitHub page for just for the bot. It's a bit complicated to actually download because GitHub is weird.
Hmm.
But so I believe if I remember correctly, I can check, but I believe it's pinned Um, in the AI discussion in the Discord.
Hmm.
Wait, no, it's not here. Dang it, it's not here. Oh wait, it might be. Okay. Oh well, the link 2, the page is here, but the file isn't here. So what you need to do is you need to go to GitHub, and then you need to download the file, which is, I don't know, GitHub is really weird when it comes to downloading these files.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you need to click on version 1.1.0, and then and then there's two ways to do this. You can either pull up a new .txt file if you know how to do that, or you can download it. I believe no, you can't. So I usually just copy it and then paste it into a text document,
Mm-hmm.
and then I go into the game, uh, choose single player, and then load up, and then choose single player, and then load up my custom AI.
Mm-hmm.
There's a button in the menu that says load custom AI, and then I go through my files and then find that particular .txt file or .js, honestly, but that's needless complication. You can just use the .txt file, and then we'll load it, and then you'll see a message screen, and then you can just play it. Yeah, it's complicated because GitHub is weird. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I know I've said this before, but GitHub is weird. It doesn't allow you to download just like that txt or .js. It has to be a .zip file, which you need to uncompress and do all kinds of weird stuff with in order to play it.
Gotcha.
It's needlessly complicated. But I can post the file, I
Uh-huh.
believe, on Discord, and then if anybody's interested, you can just like download it directly on the Discord in the AI discussion.
Very nice. I think what I'll do then is I'll just um let's troubleshoot that after we film this, and
All right,
then when I write the description to this video, I can post exactly the steps we're gonna do,
all
uh,
right.
and that way we can make sure that people are um, getting exposed to better playing computer or better playing bots. Um,
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
yeah, I'm very excited to test that out and see how that goes.
All
Um, very nice, very nice. So, yeah, sounds like a lot of steps. I was kind of running through them in my mind, and it doesn't seem too complicated to do the steps. It just seems that there's a lot of the steps.
right.
When you copy the .txt, that's like text, it would
Yeah,
probably
text.
it would probably look almost exactly like the replays when you open those up and look inside of
Oh,
them.
yeah. Now that you mention that, yes, it is. It is exactly like that. Yeah,
Okay.
it is exactly like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that is such a cool, that's like such a cool side of Little Word Game that I like to like I'll experiment with it like a little bit. I remember, for instance, when the patches change, I think there's um, like something in the replay files or the text files that's particular to the map
Yeah.
that makes it like you can't watch it. But if you like do like a one number change, it's like, oh, you can watch the replay again. And I think that's so cool. It
I'm
makes me feel,
guessing that one number change is probably the
yeah, I think so.
version number.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, probably.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, every time I interact with that and it works, I'm like, wow, I feel like such a,
Magic.
yeah, it's like magic. Like, how does this all work? So speaking of
Yeah.
that, how does it all work? So, um, you talked a little bit about JavaScript, but again, for someone that's brand new, that's like just discovering what like bots are, what Little War Game is, like how to interact with like files and stuff like that. How much experience with JavaScript do you think someone really needs in order to be able to understand what's going on and to be able to potentially like do this themselves?
Like 0.
Okay.
That's the simplest answer I can give. 0.
Hmm.
Um, me and Brutality Warlord in particular, we always try and leave as many comments as we can in our code, because we hope, well, at least I hope, that whoever looks through the code whenever they can understand it. I hope that somebody can like improve it and just like have fun with it. Really, you can just go in the when you download the TXT file, you can go in there and change whatever you want. Um, and get if you just change things randomly, of course, it's probably not going to work. Some of the stuff is very specific, but you change the right things, you can like change the bot's aggression. I believe in Brutality Warlords in particular. I don't think mine can do that yet. You can change build orders. You can change all kinds of stuff really. Um, yeah, you really don't need a ton. You don't need a ton of experience to mess around. If you want to build something good, that's another matter. But if you look at Death's AI, I don't know if that's in the AI discussion. If you can see that, yeah. I don't. Okay. Anyways, if you look at his, it's actually a training bot. So he just used he just made the bot chat what you should build at what time as a kind of training bot, which is really cool. And it's just because I never thought of that. I just never thought of that. And it's like because he had no experience in coding bots,
Hmm.
but he still managed to do something that me and Brutality Warlord, who've been doing this for months or even years actually, it, you never thought of that. It's just incredible. You don't need experience in order to do this kind of stuff. What you just really need is willingness to mess around and see things blow up, metaphorically, of course.
Right, right, right. So, okay, I can already think like for a couple things for myself, and this goes to my like player side of the discussion for Little War Games. Um, as a player, this would be like getting to develop a bot would be a huge advantage, especially if I could develop a bot that is really good at doing like early cheeses, because one of the things that a lot of players struggle with is how to defend cheese, especially in the really early game. Things like proxy two dens, things like proxy raxes, and so if I wanted to build a bot that did like proxy racks, how would I even go about doing that? Where would I go?
All right. This okay. I've actually been thinking about this a lot. One of the things I would like to add to my bot is cata
Mm-hmm.
drops in particular, and drops in general. Really,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually a lot harder than you might think,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I haven't added it. So the bot doesn't see the map through through what you see. It sees it through a combination. Well, mostly sees it if you go down to the most basic level, it sees it as ones and zeros.
Mm-hmm.
But at my level, it sees it in various data structures. Um, so if you wanted to make a proxy Rax, essentially what you would have to do is get the other player's start location and then draw a circle around that player's start location, and then check every box around that start location, see if it's buildable. Um, then once you find a buildable location, then send a worker there. But see that's going to involve trigonometry. That's going to involve geometry. It's going to involve loops. That's going to involve checking, lots of checking. That's it's you also have to make sure that it's not like trying to build in a ravine. You have to make sure that it's not too close to the base while being sufficiently far enough. It's not too close and not too far.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's 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 like that kind of stuff. It seems simple. It's actually pretty complicated.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I bet that already sounds like a lot of fun actually. Like, if
yeah.
you have like an evening to yourself, you're like in the zone, like putting down these
Oh yeah.
coordinates. I think for me, probably if I were to like get into it, I would probably just like put in the inputs, not even know if I did it correctly, and then just test, and then have the like see if the bot does it correctly or not, and then have that be the answer. but yeah, like getting to figure out the math to make sure that you're doing it correctly the first time. That would be a nice spot to get to. That'd be really interesting.
Never correct the first
Never,
time.
never correct the
Never
question.
correct the first
Gotcha,
time.
gotcha, gotcha.
That's the fun. That's the fun about it. You're always like, I'm gonna screw up this time.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So unless you want to say something, I'm planning on moving on. But
All right. Yeah. Cool.
gotcha, gotcha. So okay, so almost the exact same wording of the question, but just a little bit different. If someone wants to make a bot, where do they go to like start putting in information so that they could start building a bot?
So you can open a txt file and start editing that directly. However, I wouldn't recommend that really, because it's a pain. Because
Mm-hmm.
there's no okay. So developer consoles generally will have different colors. If you have like some of the really good ones, like Monaco editor, they will show you like where variables are defined and all kinds of fun stuff like that. Um, so I believe there's something called like the kitchen sink. Oh, let me search this up. JavaScript kitchen sink. I think it's called something like that. No, it's not. All right. Well, where is that?
Did we lose you?
Sorry, what?
Oh, okay. Your volume cut out, or your microphone cut out for a second, but I can hear you now.
Oh, well, looks like my computer's terrible as usual.
That's fair.
So, okay, Ace Editor. If you search up like Ace Editor, I believe there should yes there is something here. Yeah, all right, Ace Editor. You can
No.
you know if you because most text editors what they will do is just
Hmm.
a big blob of black text, and that gets really hard to see after a little bit. Just to see what's happening, where is everything. But if you, yeah, Ace Editor. I'm not sponsored by this, by the way. So,
Hmm.
yeah, just go to Ace Editor and it should be fine.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Okay, yeah. If you go to like ace.c9.io, you'll see you'll see like a demo,
Hmm.
and then you can click on a link and it'll go to the kitchen sink. Ah, yes, right here. And then it is way better. It is really good.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that'll definitely be something I'll leave in the description. So
Oh yeah.
I'm planning to leave a way to get to your bot in the description, and then I'm planning
Mhm.
on leaving a way to help like create your own bot. And so I assume once you get to JavaScript or this specific ace.c9.io, I'm assuming it's going to be empty. Um, so would you need to like create a replay and then just copy that information into the file that you're editing from, or how does that work?
If you're completely new,
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest going to the AI discussion channel,
Mm-hmm.
and then in the pinned messages, there is, where is it? Yeah, there's a web archive. It's called like littlewargame.com/blog. So that's the Little Wargame AI API. Where it's from the original developer JBS.
Mm-hmm.
He create okay, so he created an entire like web page dedicated to the entire to like all of the functions and stuff that you can use in a bot. And then at the very end, you can see an example bot. I would suggest you copy that in
Mm-hmm.
into your own because it's simple. It's a very simple bot, but it does work, and you can see the basics by using this. Like you don't have to be bogged down by like how much this is, how complicated it is. because all really complicated things are based on like simple building blocks.
Hmm.
They don't pop into existence overnight. You don't write 2,000 lines of code in like an hour. It's little bit by little bit. So like I like to say this, but just like don't get overwhelmed. It's just a lot of simple things woven together. So yeah, it's a simple AI. If you'd like to get started with it, I'd recommend going with that first,
Hmm.
because Mine and Brutality Warlords AIs, despite all the comments we try to leave, um, they are pretty big. They're pretty like they have lots of lines and stuff. So I would suggest going with that if you're interested.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, it's something that I'm interested to learn more about.
Mhm.
And then again, if like if after a bunch of trial I'm able to create a bot that would be an effective practice tool to
Yeah.
to make me better at the game, then
Mhm.
that would be amazing. As a player, that would be fantastic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Um, so great. Okay, so I'll leave that in the Discord. I'm assuming that if people have questions about AI or making a bot, they can kind of hop onto the Discord and people will be there to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Very nice. So, I guess I should talk about you. This is probably a more you specific question for Mr. Meow Meow. Um, what actually led you into building AI? Was it something that you're very passionate about, like the whole coding, like mechanical um, background of like how this game plays? Was it maybe like a friend of yours that you talked to that kind of helped you out? Were you already like involved in coding before you even found out what Little War Game was? Like, I'm very curious to find out what exactly brought you to Little War Game.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very involved in coding.
Hmm.
I really like doing it. So what I did, okay, so I've already been coding for quite a while, and then so I finished like number one in my coding class. Something. All right, that doesn't matter. Anyways, so yeah, thank you.
Well done.
So I found Little War Game, and then like a week after that, I hopped on the Discord, and then I found that Brutality Warlord had just uploaded his latest version of his AI bot. And I'm like, whoa, this is real cool. So I took it and I downloaded it and I uploaded it. This was before I knew that some of those scripts could possibly contain viruses. Which that's a discussion for another time. Anyways, so I uploaded it and I played it, and I'm like, wow, this thing can actually use like catapults and well, not archer. Okay, it can use catapults, it can use archers, and it can have mages that shoot fireballs at me. And it also had priests that cast invisibility spells. Which I'm
Mhm.
like, wow, this is so cool. What can I do it? Right, so I looked in the file that I downloaded. Right, so and then I started scrolling through everything, and I'm like, wow, I can actually understand some of this because I had already taken that coding class. And then, so I messed around with that for a while, and then I tried to do various things with it, metaphorically blowing things up and seeing what happens. And then I kind of got disinterested in it for a while, and then I came back. And then I coded my own, completely on my own. Like with I think I only I didn't copy a lot of lines. I copied some, but almost all of it is my own. So that's the complete story of how I got into all of it. Um, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't like uh, I'm I'm just really great coding AI or I have a great passion for coding AI. I just thought that it was really cool, and I just decided to go for it. And that's about it.
Very nice. Very nice. It sounds like It sounds like you have experience, like learning coding in class, like in some
Yeah.
sort of class, whether it be college or something like that. Is
Mm.
this like coding, programming, this kind of thing? Is this what you want to do with like your career?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Very nice. Very
That's a
nice.
short answer.
Okay, okay. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm definitely gonna be excited to see kind of how that goes for you. It seems like, if you're already building bots, you're getting a lot of experience with developing code and then troubleshooting problems, which is fantastic to see. Very fantastic to see. Okay, so we talked about kind of what a little bit about bots are. We talked about a little bit of how you can kind of get into building bots. Again, I'll try to leave that down there in the discussion. Where you can find them, we talked about that. Um, how you can do it, and then we talked a little bit about why um, bots are important. Very nice. You mentioned something really quickly, um, uh, specifically about security, and this would be a good thing to kind of cover, especially for people that are, if they're brand new to building. And I
Mm.
remember your quick answer was you don't really need any experience to actually to work on some of this stuff. You just need to have some willingness to learn
Yeah,
and kind of just like problem solve some of this stuff.
sure, yeah.
But they do expose themselves to potential viruses to
Yeah.
download, I imagine. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that security side of things?
Yeah, Little Wargame isn't perfect, and it doesn't have a ginormous security budget like StarCraft 2 does.
Hmm.
So if you just if you just download any file, really, there's a chance that there's a virus inside. No, I don't want to downplay the threat, but simply because Little Wargame is such, it's not a huge community. I don't believe that there will be too many viruses out there. But if there are, I just would like people to know that it's possible. Although I will also say that AIs and so the bots are run in a separate script. It's very hard to load a virus into your computer using simply because of that. Um, but if you see, for example, something that says that that claims to be a bot, but it ends in with a .exe file, that's not a bot. All bots are either .txt or .js at the end of their name. Um, One of the other things is the bots aren't actually really monitored. They're in a separate thread, so they aren't monitored at all. So it's actually possible to, for example, create a bot army. So you can have like 100 guests logging on at once. Although it probably crash your computer, uh, but it is possible because you can basically create any connection you want with these bot threads. You could also mine Bitcoin in the little script that the bot has. You can like mine Bitcoin. It's possible too because you can establish any connection you want through the script. So I advise people to I just download things you trust. Like if if it's from like a sketchy little corner on GitHub or something, it's not worth the risk really. Um, it's so I don't believe the threat is large, but it's definitely possible. Just as a word of caution, because it's just I don't believe that security is too high on the devs priority list. Um, although there have been security updates for sure, and they fixed a lot of important things that I won't go into.
Hmm.
But it's just this community is so small. It's not.
Yeah, it would be terrible to
Yeah,
see. It would be terrible to see people getting like attacked uh,
Yeah,
from this corner of the internet. It would, yeah, it would be
yeah,
very terrible.
particularly because everybody's so nice on, everybody, generally anyways, everybody's so nice here. It's like be terrible to see people just
Yeah,
downloading things and then yeah.
yeah. The reason why I laugh is because sometimes, oh goodness, yeah, and this comes from playing Little War Game for like 2.5 years so far. It feels like everyone is nice until they two-rex you like right outside of your natural base, and
Oh
you're
no.
trying. Yeah, everyone is nice until the two-rex comes out, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, 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 absolutely, absolutely. We're all very passionate about this game. I remember actually as you were talking about this, it kind of reminded me about the podcast I did with Square Root, and I believe we talked about kind of the security side of things,
Mhm.
specifically um, the fact that they were kind of working with not necessarily working with him, but specifically, Khaled was someone who was like hacking into Little War games and kind of like showing that there were some security vulnerabilities, and they were working on improving that side of things. So that's good.
There's
I'm
mhm.
glad we're conscious of it.
Like, yeah.
Go for it.
There's actually one other person who I will not name that actually knows quite a bit about hacking onto the war game. They did patch. They patched all the vulnerabilities that they knew of. Um, but I believe the devs actually used one of those exploits in order to find out. Uh, it's in order to find out like where they should base their improvements on.
Hmm.
I believe that that happened, but it's not in any malicious way.
Hmm.
Simply as like analytics, it's an analytics side, but it opened up a vulnerability that that people didn't know about, and yeah,
Yeah, interesting. Well, I guess as long as you're not using your like password, the same password for your banking account for your little war game um account, then you should be okay, I think. Yeah.
should be.
Yeah, hopefully. Very good, very good. Um, yeah, so very full discussion, very full discussion. Hopefully, um, hopefully maybe after this video you can kind of show me where um again how to get to your bot, and then
Yeah.
I'm planning on making a tutorial,
Oh,
or
nice.
if you want to collaborate with me on this tutorial, specifically uh, how to actually access those bots from GitHub,
Yeah.
so that people can actually get better practice. I think, um, like I know for me, every time I'm logged on, I see players like It's Jay that's like playing, and if there's nobody on, I'll see him like playing a computer, and
Yeah.
I can tell it's helping him like get better. He's obviously very good at the game, but even to get even better practice would be like so nice for players like us. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I will say, okay, I will say the bots aren't perfect.
Hmm.
And one of the glitches that I always find super annoying is that so the bot will actually chat even when it's been closed, which and I know why it happens. I know how to stop it. Just I haven't gotten around to it yet. So you will, if you play, for example, a free for all with six bots, then you go into a 1v1 with the bot. You will sometimes see yellow saying things and black saying things, even though they aren't in the game, which is it's just really annoying. And yeah, it will help you get better practice, but I'm just a word of warning. It gets kind of annoying at the same time.
Gotcha. Is there any way
Yeah.
to like so does that mean that, okay, if someone like downloads this bot and plays it, does that mean in like every game from that point on it's gonna like chat with them, or only if they load it up?
So if you reload the page, it will
Hmm.
go away.
Okay.
But you'll have to re-upload the bot, which is a pain.
Oh.
I'm planning on releasing a fix soon to stop this because it's okay. So the bot doesn't chat very often.
Hmm.
I believe it's between like 60 seconds and 20 minutes. Every 60 seconds and 20 minutes, it will chat. At least my bot. Um, but it just just a bit annoying, and I don't like it. So I just thought I'd put that out there.
Gotcha. That's all good. That's all good. All right. All right. Is there anything you want to kind of say to anyone? Like anything you want to post if you want to like maybe give a shout out to yourself? If maybe who knows in the future maybe some billionaire of a software company needs like a programmer. Um, I doubt it would be through this, but might as well get your name out there if
Yeah.
if people want to hire you or something like that.
Um, I'd like to give a shout out to what is his name? Oh, Brutality Warlord in particular.
Hmm.
He really helped a lot. He helped me get my ideas off the ground. He made the original bot, like, and he's really good at modding. I don't know. He hasn't really been doing much last couple of months. I just hope that everything's okay with him, because he's a really nice guy, and really good. Well, he's actually really good at programming too. So yeah.
Very nice. All right. In that case, I think that was a very full discussion. We'll probably close the podcast there. If this is your first time hearing about Little War Game through this video, if this is like the first time you've ever been exposed to a Little War Game, it is a free-to-play RTS real-time strategy game that is browser-based. So all you need to do is open up a tab and load up Little War Game on the internet, and you're basically right in. You can play a game just like that. It's very full of strategy, very full of fun. A game that I've been playing for the last about 2.5 years and really enjoying it. And I hope that you'll choose to learn more about this. If you're interested in um, building bots and kind of getting involved in code, especially if you're already someone who practices code or wants to, I guess, practice a little bit more, this is probably a great way for you to do that. Just get exposed more to code and practice some skills, stuff like that. Again, make sure to subscribe and make sure to like so that we can continue to grow this community. I remember Mr. Lee was just discussing that he misses people like warlords and we heard about some people, some veterans, I'll say, especially with people like El Bardo. If they're deciding to step away from the community, then we definitely want to see new people come in. That way, we have new life, continued life of this community, and that way we don't see our game die away, especially when we like it so much. It is so much fun. It has so much depth inside of it. So again, thank you, Mr. Meow Meow. Very much appreciate this discussion. Thank you for reaching out. And again, if you ever need to reach out to any of us, if you ever need to reach out to Mr. Meow, make sure there's a way you can do that. All right. Thank you, everyone, and hope to see you guys in the next video.